Hey guys, welcome back to Game 2 tonight. It's going to be LGD versus Rattlesnake. Should be a pretty sweet match. If you guys were here earlier with us, about 2 hours ago, we ended up watching LGD versus MUFC. Almost lost it. Wow, casted the game, but here I am, remembering. So it was a pretty fun set. Unexpectedly, for me at least, it didn't end up being a 2-0. I thought LGD would end up stomping that, but actually ended up with MUFC taking a game off them at the end.
Yeah, it just seemed a little weird. The CK Wisp I thought would pan out a lot better than it did, but it didn't really end up going anywhere for either team. It just seemed kind of like an execution issue. I still thought LGD for the most part looked impressive. It just seemed like that pick was a little uncharacteristic of them more than anything.
Now, Rattlesnake as a team, they were recently qualified for the wildcard spot for the TI3 International qualifier, so they were the second place team overall. They've had some problems since then. Roster problems. They've gone 0-4 in their group in the Dota 2 Super League. So do you think it's going to be the same situation as what happened in the previous match? Do you think LGD has a really good chance of taking a 2-0 here? Or do you think Rattlesnake has a shot of coming back? Because a couple of weeks ago, they were actually looking like a fairly viable and strong team.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think things have gone, completely made a abandon all ship kind of thing, but they did go 0-4 recently in the Dota Super League, I believe.
Yep.
And that kind of lends itself to a little bit of a, maybe something's kind of going wrong here. Also, LGD dispatched them really easily and quickly in their match in the International East qualifiers, and that has to kind of do a number on your confidence as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely makes a big difference. So, yeah, let's take a look at the player cards then. We can look at the rosters really quick, see who's on each team. I know there were roster problems with Rattlesnake, but we can start things off with LGD. Styler, obviously the first player up, has been playing extremely well recently. Previously today played a gyrocopter. Did you catch what was the second game? Chaos Knight, correct? Yeah, he played Chaos Knight as well as the gyrocopter today, so played pretty excellent. He played pretty well both games, I think. His gyrocopter especially did a great job ganking and team fighting Xiaowei. The next player up, he's going to be their mid-roll. He actually played an off lane this second game, which was a clockwork today, but more typically suited towards mid heroes. Third player up is going to be Yao, I believe. Played a great Windrunner first game of the earlier today. Great shackle shots. He got some really, really good farm up against his opponent, which ended up being a Nature's Prophet. So really respectable individual skill coming out of Yao here. DDC, the 4-position player for LGD China, plays excellent Visage. Did that earlier today. We also saw him play a Earthshaker as well. I believe that was him, or do you know if that was DD, their 5th player? Either way, their 5th position role is DD. Very, very talented player. Played absolutely phenomenally in the TI3 Eastern qualifiers just a couple weeks ago, and really, really impresses me individually. And that's their little hexagon. Hexagon everybody loves. Player skill, yeah, we talked about this, or they touched on this at the last hexagon point, but I definitely think their player skill could be a bit higher. I really like them as a team, and I think they have some insane talent. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, they're a really good team, obviously, but some days they just seem to be missing that extra little spark. And especially the last game they played against MUFC, where they got behind early and they weren't able to get any traction back. I also think that was a byproduct of putting Yao mid, putting Xiaowei in the long lane role with a hero like Clock, something I don't see him play too often.
Yeah.
So, but pretty accurate, I think, in terms of the hexagon.
One of the most accurate hexagons I've ever seen, definitely. So the team they're playing against today is going to be Rattlesnake Gaming. Their 1 position is going to be Icy. Typical carry heroes there. We haven't actually seen a lot of Lone Druid yet this tournament. Have we been seeing him banned? I feel like I haven't even seen him getting banned, and he really hasn't gotten that many nerfs individually.
I think
other than
the armlet one is...
The armlet one is huge,
yeah.
But the bounty one not as extreme. Second position is going to be Luo, playing a effective solo mid. Surprisingly, Doom and an Alchemist there for him. They did pick Doom a couple times, I believe, in the International East qualifier, which is pretty interesting.
That one against the Darkseer at the top lane.
Yeah, that's right. That was a really fun strategy coming
dirty.
out of them. Yeah, it was pretty awesome for sure. Their offlane role is going to be Lan M. Lan M actually also playing some pretty impressive Dota during the Eastern qualifier. I was quite excited with his Enchantress, I believe, one of the games.
Yeah.
He did an awesome job roaming around the map and ganking everywhere. 4th position for Rattlesnake is going to be Kabu, playing support heroes. Man, some of these heroes don't even look like 4 positions. Queen of Paintsman and Gyro, what is going, or not Gyro, Clockwork, what is going on here? 5th position is going to be Seg, whatever that symbol is, and an M. Is it an R or a heart, right? Seg, Hearts, M, for the 5th position.
Or just Neo.
Yeah.
Or Neo.
But we
All,
only give you the hard one.
all applicable. Yeah, he plays 5. It's pretty cool. Support items.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, really cool guy. Alright, and the Hexagon, not as manly looking as LGD China, but definitely have played some effective games. They're really touted for their unpredictability and picking some weird drafts, which could throw some teams onto the back foot. Maybe they can do something like that here. It is really important for them to get at least one game here, because every point is going to add up to be pretty extreme. We saw it happen earlier with MUFC, a team that I wasn't expecting to be able to take a game off LGD China, but they were able to do it, and hopefully Rattlesnake can do the same. So, what do you think of Blitz? Who do you think they can take a game? Is the question. That's a question in my mind, at least.
All right, so I'm gonna try to go 2-0 for the day. I
Ooh.
predicted the 1-1 for the last set, so I think this though will be a 2-0 for LGD. Now that I've said that, I've cursed them, and Rattlesnake's gonna win 2-0. But I mean, everything points to an LGD 2-0. I mean, LGD, even in their loss, it just seemed like kind of an inconsistent strategy that they're not too familiar with running that with CK. They didn't seem too comfortable with it. I think Rattlesnake's recent failings, on top of the fact of how impressive we saw LGD look at the International East qualifiers against Rattlesnake, I think LGD takes this. Not easily maybe, but I do think this is a 2-0 for them.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. Rattlesnake, like you said, hasn't had the best performance lately. They're maybe having some roster problems, and despite losing a game versus MUFC, I think they still look really strong. So what do you guys have to say over at the caster desk?
Wow. Rattlesnake versus LGD China. All Chinese showdown. I mean, like Kevin mentioned, it was... Rattlesnake just got absolutely demolished in the qualifiers by LGD. That was one of the most one-sided series you will ever see. And in general, this Rattlesnake team, they are not looking very strong right now. Rumor is that they want to make a roster change but can't. Well, they've got to put it together, Lumi. The International 3 is looming, and right now, they're not in good form, which means for LGD China, this may be easy pickings.
I think they're going to be easy picking as well. Now, they do have some very interesting heroes. They always pick up some crazy heroes. And sometimes I'm very excited because they go Bristleback, long lane.
Yeah.
And then I get sad at the end of the game because Bristleback, long lane lost.
They get this Doom out of nowhere.
Right. So, great heroes, fun to watch, but I'm not sure whether it produces the results.
The unusual picks are, I feel they're only really fun if they work, or at least they somewhat work. You know, if Dendy picks Pudge and then just dies 20 times and doesn't hit a hook, that's not that interesting. But Dendy hits his hook, so he makes the game fun off of that. And for Rattlesnake, the ratings have actually been docked. The Hexagon used to be bigger because they were playing better a month or two ago, but their Hexagon has shrunk. Let's see if it's going to continue to shrink today.
Yeah, since the Eastern qualifier, LGN has been getting better and better. Can't say the same for Rattlesnake. They're actually going on the other direction. They've been performing worse and worse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we break this match down a little bit more, unpack it, you look at Rattlesnake, are there any sort of heroes or styles that you think would work better against LGD? Because in general, I mean, I feel like if they go for these weak laning heroes like Doom, it's just not going to work against LGD.
I think they are at their best when they play Spectre, because it's a hero that goes fairly late, and I think Spectre is one of those heroes that you could go into the late game where you're down by 5,000, 6,000, maybe even 10,000 go and still have a shot.
Yeah.
I imagine LGD is going to have better lanes because they just draft safer, and they also have better individual skills. So I think they're in the early game phase will go to them, and Rattlesnake will be playing from behind.
Is it even where Rattlesnake, maybe we look towards the Lamb Enchantress, some sort of aggressive jungler?
That's definitely a good way to take it too.
A hero that can just take over the game. You know, what we see Ake or Puppy do for Alliance, for Na'Vi, what we see Fluff do for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Even that game they lost to G1 where he's playing Enchantress, he won them 2 lanes, then the game just kind of fell apart for other reasons. But maybe this is where Lamb can really break the game open, or is it something like Storm? I feel a lot of Rattlesnake...
Storm Lifestealer, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah, the Infest Bombs. I feel like something that can just snowball, and something that can do well in the laning stage. Those are the kinds of things that I would like to see out of Rattlesnake.
Visage is another good one that could get a ton of kills.
Visage is always a good one.
Yeah, quick medallion, and suddenly every team fight gets easier. So yeah, there's some.
You also don't want DD to get the Visage because
the
hero's good. He's good with the hero.
So let me ask you here, as the game is getting ready to fire up, are we going to see CK Wisp? Do you think the CK Wisp pick was maybe saying, hey, Orange is a team that we're not familiar with? Whereas these two teams are both in DSL. They're not in the same group, but they practice and scrim against each other regularly. And I don't imagine both teams use CK Wisp well enough to justify a ban or a pick.
For LGD, if they want to go for it, it's not a bad time to experiment. Because Rattlesnake, I mean, if you're picking stuff like Doom, there's a lot of room for a CK Wisp to get a fast level 6, to move around the map. We'll see what Rattlesnake does. I mean, maybe they'll overhaul their picks, their draft, and this is a fresh start for them. They're 0-0 in this group. They did go 0-4 in the Dota 2 Super League group stages. Those were best of 3 matches. They didn't win a single set, and they got clobbered, in fact, I would say.
And also, since LGN is not here, everybody's having an inflated score of some sort, so maybe it's time to try something out.
I'm not following. What do you mean?
If LGDN is not here, right? They're getting the 0-2 or whatever. Everybody else have better scores in comparison to LGDN at least.
Oh, because they forfeited.
Right.
You gotta use the magic words, man.
Okay.
It's too late for me. It's too early anyway. But yeah, LGDN, for those who didn't hear, the reason those matches weren't played today is they actually had a scheduling conflict. Apparently they've announced that Brax had to go to Hong Kong to get his visa renewed, so they've been forced to forfeit the first 2 matches. They were offered a couple of options, but in the end they said if we can't play with our full 5 at the team house, we'd just rather forfeit. So they're going to start 0-2 in this Group A, and since we have a little bit of time, I think it's a good opportunity to bring up the group standings here and actually just talk a little bit more about what we've seen so far. I don't know if we've actually listed LGDN as 0-2, but they are right now. They're forfeiting their first 2 matches, and those will be default wins going to their opponents. So it sets up the rest of the group stage. They have to win their next 2 matches to even have a shot at being in the middle of the pack. And
But every team qualifies to the actual playoffs. So.
And end of the day, it just means they probably won't be that 1 seed out of Group A. It's almost impossible. But still a decent shot, like you said, that they can finish with a reasonable result, and they'll go to the playoffs. It's a double in bracket. Everyone starts in the winner's bracket.
I do have to say that every time we make the transition for this Alienware backdrop, like I feel like I'm blinded because you're watching this glaring white screen. Or is that just me? There you go, see?
The only thing that pisses me off is we don't have hexagons on this screen. Daniel, our animator, did a fantastic job, but octagons just...
Not our style, man.
Actually, those are hexagons. They're just they're turned sideways, so they look different.
It is.
They are hexagons.
LD, you are off the team.
I'm off the team.
For not recognizing many hexagons on hexagons.
Yeah. Purge was like, should I say something? I guess I have to say something. And he's the one who was just taking a nap. But that's neither here nor there. Rattlesnake versus LGD. Game 1 in the best of 2
I think
is now underway.
Neither of us were really clear in terms of who we think is going to come out ahead.
Oh, I think LGD 2-0.
Yeah.
Rattlesnake is not in good form. LGD is in very solid form.
Yep.
And LGD is the better team anyway, I feel. Rattlesnake was always I wouldn't say a flash in a pan, but kind of a somewhat gimmicky team in certain ways. So we'll see, though. Maybe they'll surprise us.
So, bans on the way. Gyrocopter is going to get banned, and so is Visage. And Visage is definitely one of the ways that you think that Rattlesnake could get themselves into the game, which is snowball very, very fast, and trying to take the game away from LGD before it even goes late.
You know, I just want to talk about these bans, though, because Rattlesnake banned the Spectre, and they do it in the first stage.
Yeah.
Wow.
LGD loves the Darkseer, loves the Spectre. They always pick up very highly. So why not? It's definitely one of LG's go-to heroes as well.
It's Rattlesnake with this first pick, and you think they'll snap up a Darkseer here? It's a hero they like to run.
Sure. I think Clockwork's one of their better heroes as well. Maybe we should actually... The player cards are so...
entrancing.
I guess, because...
That's not the word you had in mind, is it?
No. I don't know what word I have in mind. That's why I'm stuttering. But because they switch your role so much that you don't really know what they're going to pick up. So... We'll see.
Yeah, I actually went through all the cards again during our 2-hour break and was updating them, adding some of the other teams we don't already have in our system in preparation for Group B, which I'm very excited about. But I went through Rattlesnake. I was like, well, the Kawa was playing carry yesterday. Should I change his role? You know what? Forget it. It's like those players who change their name every game.
Right.
I'm not going to update your name in our database every day. And for Rattlesnake, I threw my hands up in the air. I said, we'll go with what you've given us in the past. So for LGD Gaming... they're going to go Batrider Lifestealer off the bat. We're going to see some Lifestealer bombs here and a very early and confident set of picks. For Rattlesnake, do they go Darkseer? I feel that's just sort of the obvious choice with the Clockwork now being banned.
Yeah, well, I think both Darkseer is Darkseer is a fine pick. I think maybe Shadow Demon deserve an early pick. He was a very powerful hero. I think he matches up great against both Bat Rider and Lifestealer.
Very true.
So I'm also quite curious where Alchemist goes here, because if he goes on the mid lane, I think he loses the lane fairly easily to the Bat Rider, and as a mid Alchemist, you generally won't get the late game Basher transition, which does very well against Lifestealer. So
that's why I kind of like the idea of going Darkseer. You can put the Darkseer off lane or mid. He can be the guy that goes for the mech. He's not going to die to Bat Rider. A Lifestealer tri-lane will need at least 2 other stunners to kill him. Just one isn't going to cut it. So if he goes off lane, it'll force LGD to run a defensive tri-lane or give up a lot of farm to the Darkseer. If he goes mid, he'll do well there, and he can build the mech. You can run the Alk as that safe lane farmer, stack a lot of camps. Maybe not go for a Battle Fury, because I think more like a Shadow Blade style is what Rattlesnake would prefer, kind of that mid-game, burst damage, aggressive lineup, but we'll see what they do here. Is they actually go Rubik, which is a pretty decent pick to kind of deal with Bat Rider when he jumps in.
Yeah, we saw it yesterday in the DK versus Orange matchup where Orange was playing a solo mid Bat Rider, Mushi was handling it, and then you had, whenever Bat Rider was jumping in, I do believe it was die, immediate lift with telekinesis, so Bat Rider's initiation was not as good. And same thing from the exact same game, I do believe DK counter-picked a Bat Rider, or picked a Silencer along with the Bat Rider. So let's see if LG Gaming is thinking of the same thing, because it's a very powerful initiation. Your Bat Rider jumps in, Global Silence comes out, and suddenly the team fight is basically yours.
Yeah, only issue with that is going to be if they go for that, then they have a carry with no stuns in the Lifestealer, a Bat Rider with a long cooldown duration stun, and only the lasso at that, and you've got to get close to use it. So it would mean their tri-lane basically has very little killing power, which frees up Rattlesnake to run a greedy Alchemist, can max greed first, get a lot of farm. We'll see what they, but like you said, it does give you this ridiculous late game where guaranteed pickoffs unless you just horribly screw the pooch. And LGD, they'll ban out the Darkseer here, and for Rattlesnake actually removing the Wisp from the equation, which frankly I don't think LGD would go for this when they already have the Lifestealer, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because they banned it out.
Well, I mean, I'm also I'm somewhat surprised that Storm wasn't a ban contention, because I know Rattlesnake's a team that runs Lifestealer Storm, but
yeah,
I think LGD could easily pull it out of their back pocket and run it very well as well.
They definitely could. I don't know if they would, though. I think they're just so comfortable with what they do best. LGD don't tend to deviate too much.
Sure.
This is probably, I wouldn't say they're not innovative, because they do, but they innovate in like small ways, right? Like they'll just come up with different ward placements that can't be dewarded easily, or they'll just be really, they'll study their opponents well, they'll make small little tweaks in their gameplay to kind of counter them as best they can. But LGD isn't really that team that's going to go crazy with their picks or strategy or anything like that. So they'll pick the Shadow Demon, which actually slips through the entire way. I would have rather seen Rattlesnake ban this than the Wisp. I don't think the Wisp was something LGD would even consider, but what do I know? Anyway, Rattlesnake, they have this third pick, and what are they looking at?
Well, I think they definitely want definitely a mid hero that could go toe to toe with Bat Rider, which is few and far in between. Or maybe they started kind of thinking about what they want to pick late in terms of one of their quote unquote more interesting heroes, so to shore up a little bit on the better supports. So we'll see how it goes. I'm quite curious. You could never really predict where Rattlesnake wants to go, because the heroes are always hero pool is quite wide.
Yeah, not really sure what they're going to do here. They've got the Rubik Alchemist. It's a good combination here. You can lift up, channel that stun from the Alch, and then get a follow-up stun like Alini. You could find a lot of kills against an offlaner, but for LGD, they have a lot of versatility. If they want to run the Bat Rider offlane, they always have the option to say, okay, it's a very good killing tri-lane, we'll throw him in the jungle. And for Rattlesnake, they'll go Leshrac, so very, very strong tri-lane. It could be a solo mid Alchemist, but like you mentioned earlier, Alch is just not going to be Bat Rider mid. So if they go that route, they're basically sacking the mid lane and hoping to make up for it elsewhere. And where would they make up for it elsewhere? Against Lifestealer Shadow Demon, very hard lane to find kills against. So I feel like Rattlesnake probably better off running a safe lane Alchemist, getting a stronger solo mid, something like, I don't know, a Queen of Pain, a Puck. I would say the Darkseer, but it got banned. Something that at least isn't going to die and can have a better chance at farming well.
I mean, Dragon Knight is definitely a go-to solo.
Well, he's actually banned as well.
Oh, against LGD, who plays...
Yeah, Rattlesnake have kind of limited their own options here even more.
DK and LGD always love to do Dragon Knight solo mid, so maybe it's going to be a Kunkka game, which... Let me double check. No, it's not banned. It's right here. So
well, first I'm seeing octagons where they're hexagons, and now you're missing bans. We're off to a great start for the Alienware Cup.
Yeah, Kunkka's definitely a really, really good hero, especially against some of these more bursty supports where they try to do as much damage as possible before they die, and that's where Coco Rum really kicks in. So I think, and of course it combines very well with Shadow Demon in the mid game phase. So I think that's definitely a go-to pick for LGD. But we'll see. Nature's Prophet, we saw them played, or no, I think that was MUFC that was playing it. But I always think that he's always a hero to be considered, especially when you're playing this kind of gank aggressive lineup. We see nice synergy of infest into the Prophet, and then you kind of bomb all over the map. But they're going to go with Nyx Assassin.
Oh man, this lineup for LGD, the ability for 3 of these heroes to just show up anywhere, out of nowhere, whether it's a Blink Bat Rider who fireflies over the tree line, Lifestealer infested inside of him, and then the Nyx, the +1. That's a lot of burst, and you look at Rattlesnake, they're squishy. Rubik, Leshrac, very, very squishy targets, and even something like an Alchemist, if he's not already in Chemical Rage, not that hard to burst down, and, well, you can't pop it preemptively if you don't know the Nyx Assassin is coming. So, for Rattlesnake, I feel like around that 8-minute mark is going to be the key point for them. Batrider will probably have his Blink soon, if not already. He'll certainly have some rune control, depending if he's jungling or soloing mid. If he finds any kills, Nyx will be about to hit level 6, knowing LGD, because one thing they do really well is efficiently pull and level their support. So we'll see a fairly early level 6 on him. It looks to me like Rattlesnake are not going to go aggressive tri-lane here. We'll see what they do with this last pick, but are they going to be disciplined? Will they have sentry wards in the lanes? Will they be prepared for the Batrider's rotations? If not, this game could quickly fall apart.
And we're going to see a Doombringer being banned out after a Beastmaster pick. I personally love the Beastmaster pick, and I hope that he's going mid. I'm expecting Weaver to be selected here for Rattlesnake, or perhaps even for...
Ooh, I like that
Yeah,
a lot.
Weaver is a hero that does pretty well against both Batrider and Lifestealer. Now, he's a little bit sketchy against the Nyx Assassin, because if you're a little bit slow on your kind of running away, then you're going to get blown the hell up. But he matches up very well. You could even run offensive tri-lane with the Weaver and have Alchemist solo 1v1 up top. But Beastmaster, I think, is kind of what takes the cake for me, because he does so well against Lifestealer. Keep in mind that since there's less wards now in the new patch, Hawk is going to be great. Hawk's going to be excellent against Batrider when you're defending towers, because you fly overhead, you get flying vision. He can't really take advantage of the fact that he could fly over trees and come in from the side. More importantly, that Beastmaster Boar, excellent against Lifestealer as well. So I feel like this is a great utility pickup. The attack speed aura very well welcome to Alchemist, but wow, it's gonna be Morphling. Is this solo mid Morphling?
They did not run out of reserve time here. Nobody disconnecting. This is an intentional pick. Is it going to be the Sylar Morphling returning to solo mid, returning to do battle? I'm excited, because this guy,
so. Yeah.
Sylar was, I mean, obviously everyone was playing Morphling. The hero was winning a lot of games at the International 2. The hero was pretty broken at the time, but I thought Sylar was just one of the best at the hero in spite of that. Just his ability to find the farm. He'd go solo mid. He'd be very efficient with his mana, his waveform usage, all the little things. He'd always have the replicate ready to pour it out to, and just really solid, well-rounded Morphling player. And like you said, that's the big question. Is he going to go mid? It kind of looks like it. It looks like a Lifestealer tri-lane safe lane, a jungler off-lane bat, and then a solo mid morph. The other option, I guess, is a safe lane morph and an aggressive tri-lane if they want to, and a Batrider mid if they want to kind of free him up a little bit. But I guess he'd do well 1v1 against Rattlesnake. There's not really any one hero that's going to dominate a morph, so wherever they put him, he'll have a good time.
I think Nature's Prophet, or I think Rattlesnake, the way they're drafting, they're expecting a 1v1 matchup on the long lane. So they put Nature's Prophet there, and let's see how the lane actually do pan out. So let's quickly introduce the player here. On the Radiant side, we're going to see Xiao playing the bat, so that's going to be going mid. And that most likely will mean Sylar is going to be playing the solo on the safe lane with the Morphling. DD playing the support Shadow Demon, Yao on Lifestealer, and DDC on the support Nyx Assassin. I think this is your offensive tri-lane going top here.
The scary Godzilla water creature. He's back. Let's see if Sylar can make some things happen. On the side of Rattlesnake, we'll have Lamb, the most versatile player on this team, as well as one of the most versatile players in the Chinese scene, playing the Beastmaster. Luo going to be handling that Alchemist, likely taking over the primary farming role, although he could take this Alchemist mid. Icy handling the Prophet, probably headed, like you said, to the offlane. We'll see Neo or Sagem on the support Rubik, and last but not least, it's going to be Kabu back on the support role, not getting the farm this time around, most likely. He'll be handling the Leshrac. So let's talk more about Morphling. How do you feel he matches up this game?
Well, it depends on what item build that he goes for, right? And Morphling as a hero has a ton of item builds. You could go for the Linken's first into a shotgun, or the other way around, shotgun into more of a late game Linken's. There's always a Manta style. And one of my personal favorite build is a BKB first build on some Morphling. You don't expect Morphling to have a really powerful early game to mid-game impact, but you got to keep in mind waveform 320 damage as a nuke. And more importantly, once you wave in as a Morphling and you pop your BKB, what the hell is support like Leshrac, Nature's Prophet, and the Rubik, what are they gonna do? They really can't do anything. So I feel like the BKB first is a really good build. But to answer your question, it really just depends on what he fancies as a skill build. And look at that, right from the get-go, he's pulled 200 gold worth of
Here comes the Wraith Band. Here comes the plus stats. This is your old school
Yep.
Morphling solo mid. Pull him and then just let him go to town. In this game, he'll do well. I feel whatever one hero he's up against mid, he's going to get the farm. It'll come down to can Rattlesnake maybe look for a smoke egg here. They have a pretty potent combo with the Rubik lift, the Leshrac follow-up stun. But the real question is, do they have the burst to bring a Morphling down? And the answer to that is, probably not. I want to say not until say there's a Roar on Lamb or a Prophet Ultimate on the field, and by that time, well, we may see LGD looking to gank the lane and give Sylar that kick in the rear. And you look at this lineup for LGD a bit more, and Sylar can pretty much use the courier for himself. Xiao 8 isn't really going to need it as an off-lane bat rider. He can mostly just get Tranquil Boots and look to regen that way. Maybe gets a bottle and just tries to get runes occasionally. And well, it's going to be a defensive tri-lane against an off-lane Prophet, so that safe lane won't really need the courier too much either. So it allows the Morphling. Sure, Bottle Crow's been nerfed, but he can still use that courier freely, even with the slightly slower back and forth.
Look at Beastmaster solo mid for Lamb here. Also pulled. He's got Bracer first. Got his nice regen. This is something that you never ever see, Bracer first. But sure, if you want to feel like you need to compete with the base damage of Morphling, that's what you just need to do. Also, I want to say that the Nyx Assassin player, DDC, he's got to be extremely careful to not give away a Mana Burn to Rubik. Because a Mana Burn on your Morphling, that is a easy way to get him killed.
Yeah, and we could sort of see one of the other reasons why maybe LGD went for the Shadow Demon is just to protect a carry like the Morphling, ensure that they can't make copies of them, they can't really counter him too hard, and Sylar for the time being will be 1v1. They're going to rotate Kabu into the lane just to try to slow him down. Thing is, they're never killing Morphling with these two, and it's going to delay the Beastmaster Roar as well. I mean, they can split Earth him, he can morph to Strength if he needs to. They definitely won't kill him at this level. Sylar actually trying to take some pot shots, although frankly, he just took too much damage, and now it's unfavorable for him to trade. So, well, not the best start for Sylar. Good harassment by Kabu, but as long as Sylar plays this right, he shouldn't die, and he should get quite a few levels.
I mean, you're right. He's not going to die, but at the same time, he's just basically missed an entire wave of blast hits. So maybe that's all they really care about. So I don't mind the dual lane mid here coming out from Rattlesnake. In fact, that's going to force Shadow Demon to come in. And as a result, Nature's Prophet, perhaps the biggest winner out of all of this, is going to have a slightly easier timing lane, grabbing some EXP. And he definitely needs that early start.
It's going to be a tough lane for the Prophet, simply because they have a Rubik here, as well as a Nyx. Or sorry, just a Nyx, not the Rubik being on the other team. But they have that stun, and then they also have Carapace. So it's quite likely at, say, level 3 to 5, they could actually kill the Prophet if he's not careful. And for the time being, we'll say Icy stay very, very far back.
Well, I mean, he's doing a very good job always sending Nature's Prophet Treants to block off these pole camps. Even save you that particular Observer Ward, there's no pull, and there's 2 melee heroes in the lane, so eventually the Creep Equilibrium is going to push right to his tower, and Icy is going to have a field day getting that EXP that he needs.
Sylar really struggling to find the last hits in this lane, despite being quite heavily agility morphed. They'll start to connect now, 4 and 5, but the Morphling doesn't want denies. He really wants the farm, and he needs to work towards the bottle here. He's already chewed through all of his tangos. He'll have to get most of these last hits, or he could struggle. We'll see Kabu using that 2-minute rune spawn as an opportunity to go do a bit of dewarding here with the sentry and then also check for the rune. And in the meantime, Sylar says, I'm going to be aggressive, but he might go down here. He's not strength morphing. Seems like he forgot his hotkeys for a second, Lumi. That was really playing with fire, but in the end, bottom lane, it'll be a haste turn for DD. This should be our first blood. They go in on Icy. They may have used the stun too early. Just kidding. Easy, easy kill for LGD. And, well, Sylar, he played with fire, but in the end, he's water. He puts it out. He doesn't get burned.
Sylar's forgetting how the lane control seems like, because his support usually on the bot lane does it all for him. But Beastmaster, one of the highest base armor as a melee hero early on, actually keeping up with Sylar's base armor as he's agilely morphing. And Sylar's trading hits, and Beastmaster says, come at me.
Beastmaster also hits really hard.
Yeah, he does. Bracer or not, right?
Yeah, he's got this Bracer, but in spite of that, just with the single point and Inner Beast as well, the creeps are going to do a lot of work. Good news for Sylar is he's got the bottle on the way now. The courier's actually heading bottom first, but it'll be double bottle. Xiao 8. It's just jungling on the Bat Rider. We haven't talked about his decision-making this game, but saw that Rattlesnake were running a dual mid and a dual off lane, and maybe just worried about the possible ganks coming from that dual lane mid of Kabu rotating back to top. So he's just starting the jungle, which I think is fine, because they're getting farm on a Lifestealer and a Morphling. Pretty good farm on both, and you are giving away free farm to an Alchemist, and Prophet sitting bottom and being a nuisance, but if you're getting a Morphling and a Lifestealer good farm, and your Bat Rider's jungling efficiently, I think that's an okay trade.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's just a dual lane top with now Leshrac rotating back up, The stunning power of this particular lane is so powerful that I think Batrider simply just has to respect that and dodge, and that's kind of what he did.
And again, it's a Batrider, so he's already going to hit level 4. He's killed off a big creep camp. He'll even work on the skeletons here and drop rather low in the process, making me very nervous, but he'll be fine in the end. Xiao 8 will. And we look towards the middle lane, and they've abandoned the dual lane for the time being. It's just a 1v1, and Sylar starting to flex his muscles a bit. 16-9, and going to be able to take that rune away from the Beastmaster. Most likely, he'll wave in, and he's going to snag the regen. Clicks there prematurely. Lamb does have X's, looking to turn this around, but Sylar, a little strength morphing action. He'll pop his regen rune. He'll be absolutely fine. And end of the day, Beastmaster 1v1 is not going to beat a Morphling to the runes. Morph can push equally well, and he can get there faster. So this is where you'd like to see the Prophet or the supports getting more involved to prevent Sylar from getting runes.
I mean, like all of these small skirmishes where he's strength morphing and then trading back and forth hits and fighting for the runes, you question yourself, is Sylar really a one-row player? Because if you truly expect Morphling to win the lane hard and carry, he's not really doing that. He's now struggling to find some CS under tower, which he will get. But at the same time, do you think maybe it's actually better for him to have a safe lane farm like on the bot lane?
Lifestealer would have done fine mid as well, 1v1 versus Beastmaster, but I think it's more just that the Morphling can better abuse the runes in the Bottle Crow, whereas Lifestealer...
I mean, he doesn't need the rune or Bottle Crow, right?
Yeah, he just sits bottom and he right-clicks the Nature's Prophet. So I kind of like what they've done with Sylar mid, and end of the day, Rattlesnake dual lane mid, but didn't find a first blood. Now Kabu's only level 2. You compare that... Well, the supports of LGD are the same, but they're dealing with a Prophet who's putting a lot of pressure on the lane and isn't getting levels. And then the final element of the trade is that Batrider's level 5 and freely farming the jungle. So ultimately, LGD supports are getting the same levels as Rattlesnake. They're farming the Morphling, they're farming the Lifestealer, and they have the X factor of the Prophet getting free farm in the jungle. I don't think Alchemist getting free farm top lane is good enough to justify everything that Rattlesnake is giving away.
Yeah, it really is up to me, Beastmaster getting a ton of ganks during the mid game, and let's see how well he's going to do. Now, the big thing for me is that he doesn't have any points into Call of the Wild yet, and that's generally one of your best ganking tools early on. More importantly, it's also one of your best defensive tool against a Batrider once he has a Blink Dagger, but I guess that's a little bit more on from now. What he is getting, the Inner Beast, is really good for laning. It allows your crew to push a little bit better, allows you to trade hits a lot better against Sylar as well. So he wants to win this lane, and so far, not sure whether he's winning as hard as he needs to be winning. Xiao A takes an invisibility.
Oh no, this is going to be a kill on Lamb. He's got the lasso. He's about to pop it now. Waiting for backup, but really doesn't need to with the Firefly as well as the lasso. He'll pull him down to the low ground, and he's going to give this kill to Sylar. Sylar says, thank you for the gift, my friend. He'll clean it up. He's got a replicate available if he wants, but he's just using it to farm the mid lane. Great movement by Xiao 8. Maybe a little bit lucky to get an invis there, but end of the day, it's a jungle Batrider who's already level 6, bottle, boots, and now up to 900 gold. Where's the trade for Rattlesnake? It's just Luo farming, and he's not even your lead farmer. Only sitting at 33 and 10. And Lumi, the reason for this is they pushed an early tier 1 top. They also gave Shadow Demon a lot of experience off of that. Speaking of Shadow Demon, looking for Kabu now.
Yeah, it's definitely a questionable trade. I mean, the tier 1 top does give your, for example, some of your poorer heroes, like the Nature's Prophet, like your Leshrac, a little bit of quicker boots, and that's always nice. But you want Luo to be your big kind of farmer, and to me, the fact that he doesn't have 3 levels of Grievous Greed by now is maybe perhaps a mistake, because you don't expect him to actually get into fight, and he's missing a ton of CS that he shouldn't be missing. Maybe it's time to pick up a Quelling Blade, because it's not a bad item. Just it helps you farm even faster.
You have Grievous Greed.
Yeah.
You probably get the Quelling Blade back in 4 CS.
And he just picks one up now, so...
Well,
yeah.
I mean, the damage somewhat already done, but he's Alchemist. He'll catch up if left unchecked. And you know, the other nice thing about Morphling against Alchemist is he's good at escaping. And Alchemist is this hero that just wants to blow you up in one stun. So if Sylar can replicate out or just start strength morphing, maybe even waveform away, I feel like it's a hero that just naturally does well against a melee carry like Alk, who somewhat relies on big bursts during that initial stun.
Yeah, let's not forget that Sylar could easily target either Beastmaster or Alchemist as an illusion creator throughout this game, because both these heroes generally get aura-based items, right?
That's a really good point.
It's an AC, it's a Vlad, it's well, the Inner Beast aura just naturally from the Beastmaster, or drums. Like, so you have a ton of easy free pickings for your Morphling. Perhaps that's one of the consideration that they had in picking this Morphling.
For Team Rattlesnake, Icy spent a lot of time trying to slow the farm down bottom lane. There'll actually be a roar on DD, gets caught going for the illusion rune, and this time Lamb says, screw you, man. I'm not going to get my runes, I'm going to make you pay. But they just blew a roar to kill a Shadow Demon. It's a nice kill. It did take 2 heroes, and LGD still farming freely, working towards the Blink Dagger on Xiao 8, getting free farm on Yao. on the bottom lane, all things considered, not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you expect out of your Beastmaster. The cooldown's fairly low on his ultimate, so every time you see a free kill like that, you take it. It's a nice goal. And I wonder what his kind of big item for the Beastmaster. He has a ton of versatility in terms of item build. It could be a mech first, which is somewhat of a common nowadays in terms of solo mid in the Chinese scene. It could be like an arcane into a more ganking build, like a Necro book. There's a ton of builds, and we'll see what Lamb goes.
Yeah, you have a Nature's Prophet. Naturally, I would say you want to go for the aggressive gank item. Sylar actually manly jump in there as the little water creature, but he might pay with his life. There is going to be a lightning just barely able to live. That's more for you. It definitely is a little bit harder nowadays because it costs a lot more mana, 30 seconds or 30 mana per second instead of 20. But with constant Bottle Crow, he has a personal courier. He's been using it probably like 60 to 70% of this game at least. Hey, it's not so bad.
Meanwhile, DD de-warding here. He's like, man, I knew there was a ward there. Got killed last time I was here, so let's get some action going on. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, how is Icy's been doing? He's level 4. No points to the Sprout, which is something that we don't see too often, but I guess he's saying, man, everybody's got a Tango right now. Who am I actually sprouting? So there's a guy that fireflies. There's a guy that could wave out. Maybe Sprout's just not that good of a spell, or at least not worthy to be picked up at level 4 right now.
And he's actually rushing the mechanism. He's picked up the early headdress. It looks like Rattlesnake, true to form, are going to go for some early aggressive items. Although, as I say that, Luo is going Battle Fury, so they'll look for the Prophet to shore up their mid game, and then they're going to ask Luo to carry a heavy burden late game, because end of the day, I do look at Rattlesnake and see a Rubik, a Prophet, and a Leshrac. A lot of tasty food for heroes like Batrider, Nyx Assassin, and Morphling.
Yep. And meanwhile, the late game manipulations.
Speaking of Batrider, here comes Shao.
He's got his Blink Dagger. Look at this 10-minute Blink Dagger. Remember, he was forced into jungle, but it seems like it just doesn't matter. And this is where defending tower gets really difficult. Also, LG, notice that there is a humongous stack here on the diamond.
Wow, Sylar, confidence from him. He's going to waveform in, eats the roar to the face, the Split Earth as well, thrown back into Sagam, but he's still alive. He's still morphing. Man, that's some good Dota. Now the blink in, the infest bomb, the turnaround is here from LGD. They want Kabu. Drum charges deployed. They're going to find him. They want Sagam as well. Flame Break's cooling down. It's a little bit too much mana, but Yao says, no problem. I got this, buddy. He's going to munch it up. But in the end, Shao 8 will snipe the kill. So you go on Morphling, you don't kill him, and then he turns around with his team and kills you. Hero's still pretty decent.
That's the beauty of Morphling. He's just so damn hard to kill. He was completely out of position on the other side of the river against 3 heroes, all having stuns. It just doesn't matter. And now the counter gank comes. LG now trying to get a tier 1 off of this. And I think that's really the biggest winning. It's a mid-tier 1. That's an important tower for Roshan, for ganks, and LG just got it for themselves.
Yeah, efficient play by Sylar. He'll create the replicate. He'll go back to base and heal quickly and pop right back to the mid lane. And you mentioned the BKB build this game. I would love to see that as well, because end of the day, they already can't kill him, and that was with the nukes affecting him. If he has a BKB, good luck.
Yeah.
Alchemist will need probably 2-3 items. And for Rattlesnake, with Prophet being very underleveled and somewhat underfarmed, and with Beastmaster dying, struggling to really have a big impact mid, now 1 and 2 on Lamb, feels like almost all the eggs are in the Alchemist basket. And I would say that's okay in some games, Lumi, but I don't think this is one of those games. The carries, the Lifestealer, the Morphling are just naturally good against Alchemist. You have Demonic Purge, and then Batrider Lasso. This is a Rattlesnake lineup. The lineup they're up against, I feel they really need 2 or 3 high-impact heroes to take this game.
I mean, if Shadow Demon wasn't in the lineup, I think Alchemist, in theory, could do it when you have things like Assault Curious as well as Abyssal Blade. You have so much bashing going on that Lifestealer and Morphling is going to have trouble keeping up. But the fact that there is Demonic Purge that comes out in a long cast range, I just don't think Luo by himself could keep up. But let's see how he does.
Yeah, just in terms of the abilities he's up against.
But I mean, look at him right now. He's got a 12-minute Battle Fury Treads and
that
Calling
is
Blade.
Really fast.
That's godly fast.
And this was with missing a few CS,
right,
which we pointed out earlier.
So Grievo's Greed OP. We'll see. We'll see what he could farm up next. I mean, even though it's like you said, there's 3 or 4 really legitimate semi carries on the LG side, there is a 12-minute Battle Fury with Treads and the Crawling Blade. So I don't know.
It's also, will Alchemist get that space to farm? Because LGD, they've already had the blink on the Batrider. Morphling's working towards his next item. They have level 6 on Nyx Assassin, and this is where LGD are just going to start forcing fights. They'll use the Armlet on the Lifestealer, the natural tankiness and survivability of all their heroes to go, and actually, there's initiation on Sagam as well as on Lamb, but Sagam able to steal Vendetta, walks out of there. Lamb gonna roar someone up, but they get disrupted. Now Yao's the one in trouble. He'll go down, had Infest, couldn't use it. Shao 8's overextended too. Can he get out of here? Has the Blink Dagger, it's cool. cooling down. He will escape. 5 TPs. They get the lifesteal. They drive everyone from LGD back. But that's it. Only the 1 kill.
Yeah, but I mean, that's fine here. Your Alchemist TP in for that 1 kill. Didn't get it. Look at this Ancient stack. They're going to be farming it as a team. And guess what? The biggest winner of this is, to me, Luo.
Oh, he cannot tank this.
Well,
Luo.
not with this ultimate running out, but it's going to be back very soon. And with the Inner Beast Aura right here, they have a drums finish as well. So Rattlesnake, despite having a tough start.
Okay, that's going to be... He went straight from a 12-minute Battle Fury into a 14-minute Shadow Blade, if he wants it. He's pretty much got it now.
Just Radiance right now and be like... Well, maybe not against a Morphling. Maybe not against a Morphling.
I don't think you need it. I mean, you already farm so fast with a Battle Fury Acid Spray.
No, he's going to go Shadow Blade.
It's really diminishing returns, and I think the Shadow Blade is the way to go.
So, I mean, just seeing that pile of gold entering, Luo's...
He got 3,000 gold in 2 minutes, and like you pointed out, didn't actually get a kill bottom lane.
Right. So, let's revisit that question. Is Luo going to get out-carried this game?
Well, it gets a little harder now.
Yeah.
You look at the gold graph, it does take a big dip, but... Again, I still look to Rattlesnake and I see Leshrac, who's total food, can easily be brought down by a Nyx Assassin or a Bat Rider. Prophet has a mech, so he's a little bit more durable, and the Rubik is going to be pretty squishy. So for Rattlesnake, it's just important they don't get caught, especially those backline heroes. Positioning will be key. Vendetta wears off for Sagam. He did steal that, as mentioned earlier, and LGD, they'll back off. I think if you're LGD, you're still okay taking this late. You just want to try and find a gank here or there to slow down the Alchemist.
Yep, and here comes Rattlesnake smoke. I think they've been smoking for quite a bit now. They're looking forward to get a kill, and this is, for example, where you really want that greater Hawk. Especially if you smoke that Hawk, that could be leading away, and if your Hawk gets revealed, here we go, they will see a couple. DD is probably going to get roared. No, he self-disrupts, and I think when he comes out self-disrupt, no, they're going to focus on Yao instead. Beastmaster comes, and where's the physical DPS? It's all there from Luo. The Deeps are all here, and they're going to keep on chasing. No, they just want to steal the stack. More gold now going towards Luo's pocket. He's going to be up to like 1,000 gold. This is right after he purchased just a Shadow Blade.
Where was the rage? I had Lifestealer selected. It was not on cooldown, and for some mysterious reason, Yao just didn't use it.
And now they're going straight into the Roshan pit.
Well, I mean, that was an AUC stun. It has a travel time. You see it coming. I'm not sure if he's lagging or what was going on, but really shouldn't have been able to rage to dodge the stun. And because he didn't, he just got roared and blown up. And as you pointed out, Roche is just melting. Rattlesnake are going to take this one. And this team suddenly seems like a fire's been lit under them. They went 0-4 in the Dota 2 Super League group stages. They have just looked horrendous, especially compared to past performances, but all of a sudden, they're playing well, and they're taking the fight to LGD. For the first time this game, they'll be leading by a significant gold and experience margin. Well, when I say significant, I mean more than like 50 gold.
Right.
You can see here.
I mean, it's like what you said during the drafting stage. You were asking me how do I see Rattlesnake taking this game? I said through late game Spectre, but the other thing that you suggested was, why don't you just snowball and snowball really hard? And if you look at the gold graph, that's what I think that's the definition of snowball. When you get back 3,000-4,000 gold in one fell swoop, that's crazy stuff.
It's key to capitalize on this advantage, though.
Yeah.
You don't want to go... For Rattlesnake, they can go pretty damn late, because they have some really strong supports and utility heroes from the Beastmaster. With Inner Beast, with Roar, probably one of the best late-game ultimates, especially if you get an Aghanim Scepter. And you've got Rubik, who can steal quite a number of useful spells. So I think they can go late. They have a natural Hex carry on Prophet. But there will come that point where there's a Morphling and the Lifestealer that are very, very fat. And at that point, do you really want to have just one damage dealer in the Alchemist? Probably not. You're up against Shadow Demon. You're up against a lot of anti-carry in Bat Rider and Nyx. So for LGD, I think they'll just have to be more careful about when they engage. And they're giving up a lot to Alchemist. They just got to get the trades and farm for their next items. The Force Staff on the Bat Rider, which he's getting closer and closer to. The Ethereal Blade or the BKB on Sylar, gone for the Ghost Scepter. So maybe looking E-Blade here. And for Yao, just needs to tank up a little bit, because if he gets stunned, right now he can die from full HP. We saw that in the last fight.
Yeah, and I saw Beastmaster. He was up to 1,700 gold territory. I was very sure that he was going to go Blink Dagger, but instead just basically got a couple of basic items. I think he's upgraded Strength Treads, and he's going to be going for Vlad. So that's going to be somebody that Morphling wants to replicate and get that kind of all the auras for his team. That's going to help against the Alchemist quite a bit, in fact. So that's definitely maybe a build that he should be considering a little bit more carefully.
I'm wondering what Luo's going for here. He's got the Mithril Hammer. I would assume BKB, but maybe it's a Maelstrom. I honestly feel like this game, if he wants to tank up, I'd rather see the Assault Crash. Just has such nice synergy when you already have Inner Beast, more attack speed, more armor, and it scales better late game. Whereas you get the BKB now, you go 20 minutes from now, he may have the 4-second charge, at which point does it do much for you. With this kind of farm, we'll see what he goes for, but I would personally like to see something that scales a little bit better late game.
I think it's just as you said. I mean, you get the 4,000 swing back, but you got to take advantage of right now. And BKB is definitely an item that does that. I mean, look at the item purchase. It's a Lamb that's going for Vlad's. It's a Mech Quick on Nature's Prophet. It's all these items that benefit in the next 5-10 minutes. And when you have such a big lead swinging back to you, you keep pushing, you keep going, and that's exactly what they're doing at this tier 1 tower up bot. Now, the fact that they could do it against a Bat Rider in a pushing situation, especially with Yao now infested in him, I'm not sure, and maybe that's why they're backing off. They really, I don't see them being able to push unless they actually get a pick off, and Beastmaster is one of the best in business in doing so.
You know, for LGD, I actually don't think Xiaowei can go in. Because if he goes in, he can either last with the Rubik or the Beastmaster.
And he gets disabled by the other one.
Yeah, he gets lifted or he gets roared. So I actually think Xiaowei just can't engage unless he just wants to suicide bomb and unload his payload in the form of the Lifestealer. But they'll smoke up and they want to head towards mid. They're trying to take a fight with the Aegis online for Luo. With the Hawk now scouting things out, well, they'll play this one very carefully. I imagine they're hoping to see someone top lane or somebody go bottom, and then they'll make a move. But they're heading mid. DDC will lead the way. The Blink Lasso's there. They could go on Luo now, but remember, he's got the Aegis. He'll Shadow Blade to the north, drops an Acid Spray as he retreats. And in the end, a smoke, a lot of wasted time, not just for the utility heroes, the supports, but for the Lifestealer as well. I do feel for LGD they can go late, but they got to farm both of these heroes up. Yao can't waste too much time infested.
And farming, well, I think Rattlesnake's doing a better job of that. I think Rattlesnake Icy just took a page out of Admiral Bulldog's playbook. Saw 50-second on the timer, TP's in the Ancient, start pulling. Unfortunately for him, there is a Sentry Ward. This is like the second or third Sentry Ward that's placed in this camp just to block it off. But I'm not sure whether Rattlesnake has as poor of a late game as you think. Nature's Prophet is a fine semi-carry. Beastmaster, I think he's deceptively powerful late game because of all the auras he carries. He makes your entire team just DPS machines. So I think they're okay. You definitely don't want to take it like 80 minutes in against a Morphling. That's when the split pushing becomes a nightmare. But I think they could actually go to 40, 45 and be okay.
And speaking of that Morphling, he's going Ethereal Blade for Sylar. This was, for a while, Sylar really preferred the BKB rush. That was pretty much, he was the one player that would just always go for that, even when he was ahead, and his team would just start taking fights. But I kind of like going for the other items nowadays, just things like the Ethereal Blade or Lincoln Sphere. Just because in this game you got a BKB, you can still be roared, you could still be lifted instantly by Rubik and then follow up stun by Lestrak before you get the BKB off. And ultimately, I just don't think LGD wants to fight now. They want to fight later and find some pickoffs. That will fuel your split push. That's going to slow down Rattlesnake. So I like this Ethereal Blade build a lot. And the other thing is, it's great against Alchemist. Alchemist, all physical damage, has really no solution for the Ethereal Blade.
I think this is a defensive Ethereal Blade, as awkward as to say that is. It's a concession to say, hey, Luo, he's by far the strongest DPS dealer. Keep in mind that you can actually cast Ethereal Blade on your allies now. The recent patch has upgraded to a 4 seconds, so that means Luo's not hitting whoever he wants to target for 4 seconds. That's great after an Alchemist stun, so it's not a bad way to deal. And either protect yourself and, more importantly, protect your allies.
Rattlesnake, with this Aegis of the Immortal, have chosen just to sit back and farm. They haven't really taken a single fight. They grouped up mid, they pressured the tower and forced out a glyph, but that was a few minutes ago, and that's really been it. They're just back to farming now, up to 200, nearly 200 CS for Luo, about 22 minutes in. It's pretty damn fast farm. He's now basically worth, not quite Morphling plus Lifestealer, but close to it. Is he actually going to do as much as those two? It's a little bit hard to say. I still feel he's like 1 or 2 items away. You want to just ride the wave, and then right at the crest, that's where you start to surf it out. So he'll work towards probably the Assault Caress next, maybe the one more item, and then they'll want to fight. But it's actually going to be initiation. Bottom lane catches out Lamb, tries to TP out. He's caught out by 4, and he is going to get picked off. And what an unfortunate time to die. Aegis expires right at this moment, which means if they wanted to get aggressive, now they really can't. They'll push top, they'll try to draw the TPs, but Rattlesnake will have to back.
I actually think that was not bad here. He actually spends the BKB charge here, actually trying to get the last hit. He does. BKB TP in last 10 seconds, but Vendetta from DDC says, no, sir.
See ya.
Come back tomorrow.
That was awkward, to say the least. He pops BKB, he pops Shadow Blade, then he hits the tower, so he no longer has Shadow Blade to escape. You actually look at LGD.
I think what he expected to do is do more damage out of the Shadow Blade hit. Maybe that's what he was thinking. But that doesn't work.
I think it was just a misclick. I'm sure he knows it doesn't work on towers.
And what is this fungus ward on the ground right now on the top? What is this?
This thing?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Some next level tentacle ward. Look at that. Yeah, give me one of those tentacles, please.
Purge is offering a tentacle ward to Lumi right now, free of charge.
Yeah.
Nothing's free. There's going to be an infest bomb bottom lane. Sylar on the hunt. There's your flame break, and this is going to be a very, very easy kill. There's your shotgun to the face of Sylar. And he'll collect an easy kill. And that's the one great thing about the Ethereal Blade is now they have that extra firepower.
Right.
You go in with the infest bomb or just with the Morphling post Bat Rider, you not only can lock them down, you can blow them up.
Yep. And I mean, in the last, you were talking about Beastmaster getting picked off in the jungle. I thought that was okay because he spent all of his gold on the Vlads, so he didn't actually lose any gold. And while he was getting killed, the Alchemist was going to get tier 2 top. I thought everything was going to work out in the favor of Rattlesnake, but suddenly Alchemist dies once, Icy gets picked off another time on the bot lane, and you go back to the decision of having Aegis for 6 minutes and not using it at all. And you ask, was that a good decision?
They like half-heartedly used it once middle. You know,
Right.
they start to push, but then they just got scared and backed off. Sylar, he's got a replicate. He's going to pop it, and we'll follow the unstable concoction around the world.
Does it get bigger and bigger? Do you remember that one video?
It went off screen. I don't know where it went, but I'll just keep an eye on Sylar here. Does it actually follow him
I think so.
all the way to the fountain?
It's one of those stuns that
Well,
can't
we're,
be
we're
disjointed.
still waiting.
Bam.
Yeah.
In the base.
No animation, though, which
Yeah.
is the sad part. So it does follow him. Good to know. As for Yao, we haven't talked at all about him because, frankly, this has been a pretty... he's 2-2-5, but I don't feel like he's done much except farm this game, to be totally honest. And he's gone Heaven's Halberd. Against this Alchemist, forces him to go MKB, also gives you a disarm. And ultimately, it really is a one-core lineup for Rattlesnake. Prophet just now going back for what could be a Maelstrom, or is it really a 25-minute Midas? I doubt it. So even if he tries to go damage, he's a long way off from it, which means all the eggs are in the Alchemist basket. You get items like the Heaven's Halberd, and he may miss some attacks on you. When his BKB is down, you can just disarm him. This is going to be a nice way to deal with that one carry lineup.
Yeah, I actually think this is probably the best item you could go for. The way that the RS team is playing is basically says, we're going to focus on one person down quick. And now you have multiple ways to protect them. You have Shadow Blade to protect, you have Heaven's Halberd and force out the BKB, you have the natural evasion, you have the shotgun ability from Morphling. How is Rattlesnake actually going to find any kill, Beastmaster or not? I just think LGD is playing the best they're playing, and they're also buying the best items that they could buy.
That window is really coming soon for Rattlesnake. Luo, he's got the Assault Caress up. I think it's maybe this next Aegis. You try and take the tier,
right?
You take the tier 2s, and you try and farm your next item. And then, by that point, I feel you have to end the game. If it goes much longer than that, Prophet is just too poor. Like, in theory, I see if he could have, like, a Scythe of Vice in the next minute or two and work towards some big items that really turn the tides. If the Beastmaster had, say, a strong late-game item like an Aghanim Scepter, maybe they can take it later. But with the items they've gone for and the amount of farm they have on Lamb, I don't think they can take it that late.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And now perhaps DD is going to be the first person to pick off. No, the Hawk going a different way. Lamb gets revealed. There is a Blink Dagger. DDC, you didn't have detection. Luo, he might stun himself. Forced to pop a BKB. That's what, the 8-second BKB just popped like that? Rattlesnake making some key mistakes. A 9-second BKB even.
Only a second usage, but thing is, they're likely to have a few more usages. And then you get to the late game. Again, it's going to be a 5-second BKB against an Ethereal Blade Morphling, against just a lot of nuke damage.
Against a Heaven's Halberd, every second is very precious.
That's very true. It's not just how long he can live, it's how much damage he can do. He's got to do it all.
Right.
So for LGD China, they are technically losing in terms of gold. Only 3,500 though. About 3,000 gold lead, or experience lead for them. Of course, this is the Alienware Cup brought to you by Beyond the Summit, organized by DPM Interactive and sponsored by MasterCard, as well as Alienware. Thank you so much to those companies and organizations for making this event possible. Hope you guys are enjoying our inaugural day of action. It's only game one, best of 2 group stage format, meaning if you win 2 games, you get 2 points. If you win 1 game, you get 1 point. You don't win any, you get 0. So every game really does count. And the nice thing with this format, we pretty much can go on schedule because we don't have some series going 3 games, some going 2. So I'm enjoying it so far on the first day. Hope you all are as well. And for the time being, well, it's Rattlesnake struggling to capitalize on an early advantage.
Yeah, I do want to say that Alchemist could probably shoot in a MasterCard commercial by himself. Like, AC 5,000 gold, Shadow Blade 3K, you know.
For everything else, there's Alchemist.
There's a MasterCard that Alchemist has like 4 of. So
that's very. He's a walking MasterCard.
yeah.
That would actually be a great reskin. I don't know.
Oh man, Xiao A doing a little bit of D-ward himself. I do believe Nature's Prophet had picked up a gem earlier. Unfortunately, he got picked off.
No, Beastmaster has it.
Okay. So
they just handed it off to him.
I see. And now he's gone for some like 24-minute Midas build. So
Even later, it was like a 26-minute Midas.
So it seems like with this item purchase, Rattlesnake says, let's take it up late. And that's kind of what we've been talking about for the past 5-10 minutes. We don't think they could take it late.
I definitely think their lineup is capable of taking a game very late. I just don't think they can go back like this now. Because they've already committed 20 minutes to an early to mid-game items. Things like the early mech, not getting a Midas early on the Prophet, going for the Vlads, the Hood, the Drums, the Treads, not going Aghanims, not going... Even something like, I feel like a Blink Dagger or, you know, an Assault Caress on Lamb would just be much better as the game goes later. And they'll try and take it late now, but Luo, BKB charges are winding down a bit. It's going to be tough. Not impossible, but it gets harder for them. I just feel it's not the optimal way to do it. They'll go in now. Xiao Wei 4-step in. He's used everything to initiate. Generally, this can lead to your own demise. It will. Blown up and roared down from the high ground, and he just fed away a gem. That could really cost him. Now DD in a bit of trouble. He's sprouted up, dropping low. Icy shotgun, but not out of the fight just yet. DD, the first one to fall, and they will back off. You know, Puppy once said when he was casting that it's generally not a high percentage play to use your 4-staff and your Blink Dagger to initiate on Bat Rider. And we see why right there.
And you see why Rubik was the second pick to counter Bat Rider. You come in, instant telekinesis. It has an instant casting animation, so you don't really care too much about things like turn rate and whatnot. And, man, Rattlesnake wins a big fight, and it's not a fight they even force, so that's a freebie for them. Tier 2 tower, it's going down on the bot lane.
LGD China, normally known for just not making many mistakes, making quite a few in this game. And even the earlier mistakes that weren't punished, like Sylar almost dying for no reason middle lane. Waveforming into a Leshrac and a Beastmaster with Roar, barely escaped. It just feels like LGD not quite on their A game here, and they'll need to be because every group stage match does count. You really want to finish first and get seeded directly ahead, farther along in the playoffs, and also just have a better matchup in the earlier rounds of those playoffs. So they're 1-1 in the group, to, having dropped one of their games to MUC, and in this game, it's not out of the question they could lose this one to Rattlesnake as well.
I mean, we were talking about the late game of Alchemist, and if we look at the net worth, like, he is single-handedly almost close to doubling to some of these, you know, the Radiant carry net worth. But it's not really about gold. It's, right now, we're getting to a point where he's running out of inventory slots. He has 4K gold in the bank, but what is he really doing, right?
I miss the good old days when you could just buy items for your teammates.
Well, that's... Yeah. I mean, he could definitely replace the BKB, right? We've been talking about how important BKB is. He could always upgrade your power treads to a Butcher Travel. Maybe your Aegis slot's going to be another big item. But there is going to be a certain point where there is going to be a 6-slotted Alchemist, and that should be the point where you just say, hey, let's go win the game now.
Fight now or forever hold our peace.
Right.
That might be the motto for them. Sylar, Hasterin up, Manta style complete as well, and you can see the Morphling really... I just look at this inventory and I'm like, man, Morph's getting fat. Sure, he is 9k gold behind Alchemist, but it doesn't really feel that way to me, simply because of how well Morphling uses inventory slots and how efficient he is with stats items, which we're seeing a lot of right now. And as the game goes later, maybe we'll see him add on a Butterfly, disassemble the Ethereal Blade. He's got a lot of options at his disposal. For LGD, they'll sit back and farm for their next level of items. BKB coming out soon for Xiao 8. For the Lifestealer, 2,600 gold. I imagine something like an Assault Caress may be the choice for Yao. Just, he's not going to be the primary damage dealer. He's just kind of your utility frontline tanky hero that can't be ignored, but is mostly there to soak up damage so Morphling can dish out the big pain. Yeah,
and now another Aegis is going to be used on Luo and not really used. And this one's not surprising at all because we saw the 24-minute Midas from Nature's Prophet, so you know the strategy of Rattlesnake is say, we're going to farm and not push. And basically these Aegis are just insurance Aegis. So it's okay. That's the decision that they have went for. But whether that is the best decision, we'll have to wait and see if it pans out the way that they want it to pan out.
Rattlesnake, they're going to look to push in the bottom lane. 2,000 gold now up on Luo. What else is on the way? It's going to be a Basher. Abyssal Blade coming soon for him. And that's once you get that item and you have AC as well as Treads and a Shadow Blade, that's the point where you can pretty much just permabat someone. So it's going to be very important for Sylar, I feel, to get some sort of evasion soon. And sure, he's got the Ghost Scepter, I guess. So he's okay if it's just the Alchemist there. But if anyone else is, he'll get chain stun. He'll get brought down quickly. And things like evasion, disarms, Ghost Scepters, Force Stabs. These are the types of items I would like to see from LGD's utility heroes as the game drags on. Yeah,
I see this game going one of two ways. You have Alchemist walk in and just basically killing everybody because LG is somewhat out of position, or you have Alchemist getting kited by all of these items that we've been mentioning. And I just don't see anything in between because one or the other is going to happen.
Yeah, which is it going to be? We'll have to wait and find out. And some of the key X factors that could help tip the scales one direction or the other in the two scenarios you were describing are an Aghanim, or rather a Scythe Device on Icy, and then an Aghanim Scepter on land. I feel like it's still worth going for the Ags. Generally, it's an item you like to get fairly early because the stats are just fantastic, but you get it here late, and you should be able to use 2 roars in a single engagement. Buy back, maybe use one again, and it's just the fact that you can initiate from long range, it makes it so hard for Batrider to jump in. It's already hard, it gets even harder, and you could easily find the pickoffs for LGD. They're elusive, but they're not that elusive. It's almost impossible to run away from an Aghanim Beastmaster.
I'm just not sure. If you look at every single hero on LG side, they either have some form to save allies through their spells, or they have a Force Staff, or a Heaven's Halberd, or a Shotgun. So who does Alchemist focus? Who can he focus? And who does a Beastmaster roar? I just think, I mean, you have Force Staff on Nyx, and now Shotgun killing time.
Oh, there's been so few kills, I forgot they could happen. 14 kills in the game total. We're 34 minutes in. Sylar, as you mentioned, did use the shotgun there successfully. Now up to 3,200 gold. He'll be working towards that next item. Again, I feel Butterfly would be great this game. We'll see what he goes for. Luo chose to spend his pile of gold on Boots of Travel. He's replaced the Power Treads, and he'll now work towards, I imagine, the Abyssal Blade. At that point, where do you go? Maybe you can replace the Battle Fury, but that's about it.
You go to their base.
Right, you stop trying to improve your inventory and your cosmetics, and you start trying to end the game.
Yeah, I really think that, I mean, Rattlesnake, they believe in their strategy, they believe in decision making, so let's not question them, but at a certain point, you look at the inventory that's slowly growing on LGD side. Sure, they're not also going for the biggest and baddest late game item like Butterfly and all that, but their item lends itself to survive, and they just need to survive right now. And when you're the losing team, and I do believe LGD right now is on the losing team by both gold and experience chart, all you really care to do is survive, and they're doing so right now.
Well, they're on the losing side as far as what matters to Mr. MasterCard himself, Luo,
Right.
which is piles and piles of gold. They now lead by about 10k on the side of Rattlesnake, just looking for their first group stage win here on their opening day of action for the Alienware Cup. He'll continue to farm it up, and like you said, he's running out of inventory slots. Let's see where he goes next. Roshan's coming soon. It will be possible for Luo to take Rosh, if he takes Rosh, rather, to have an Abyssal Blade and an Aegis. And if there was ever a time to fight, that would really be it. But we'll see if they even take the Rosh. For the time being, LGD, maybe just willing to forfeit the Roshan in exchange for a Tier 2 top. Might not even be forced to trade, because Rattlesnake, rather haltingly, are going to march towards the top lane. They'll stop off in middle. They could have taken Rosh during that time. They even saw quite a few heroes.
Rosh is not back up yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Not back up.
It was respawning a couple. I guess the counter on the right side.
Okay, they're going to go now. So
Yeah.
LGD, well, writing the timer down exactly. I actually thought it had respawned a bit sooner, but
To me, you're up 10k gold, but you just gave away a tier 2 tower for free. That just makes me want to say that Rattlesnake is actually afraid to fight. I'm not sure why that's the case. So I think they're going to give Kabu the Aegis this time. No, wait, who did they give it
they
to?
give it to the Beastmaster here. Luo doesn't have room for anything, which he'll have to rely on a buyback Boots of Travel into the fights.
All right, so they got everything now, right? They got your Abyssal on your Alchemist. You have Icy with the Hex just picked up. You have Cheese. I think it should be given on Leshrac, to be completely honest. And now you have Aegis on the Beastmaster. Now do you go?
If there was ever a time, Lumi. The only thing they're lacking... No, they even have the Scythe Device. So
Yeah.
just not, I can't say anything they're lacking. I mean, there are more items they can get. Maybe if the game goes another 20 minutes, Kabu could farm a Scythe Device. The Rubik could get a Blink Dagger, a Ghost Scepter. Beastmaster could work towards an Assault Cuirass or potentially an Aghanim Scepter. There are a few items left on their list, but it's like they want a few dress-up dolls. And then you look at LGD, they want a new car, they want a motorbike. These guys are thinking bigger and better, and that's what Sylar's going for. He'll be building a Butterfly now. He's picked up the Eagle Horn, or the Eagle Song, rather. The items they can... The room for LGD to grow is just so much bigger.
Pick off a temp here from Icy. Unfortunately, the TP tipped off the Lifestealer, and he just got the hell out there. I think Luo right now, what he's going for is the Abyssal, which is done, and buyback, which I think he has. Yeah, he does. So this is the time, I think.
Yeah, he's got the reliable gold. It is a guaranteed buyback, and they'll push the middle lane now. It's going to be hard to push into LGD. You are pushing into two of the hardest to kill carries in the game, in a Morphin and a Lifestealer, as well as Batrider. Probably the single best hero for just defending your high ground in terms of finding pickoff and being elusive. You go on Nyx, he carapaces. You go on Shadow Demon. Well, you'd better kill him quick, because otherwise he'll disrupt and turn the fight around. And meanwhile, Sylar's split pushing. He's got the Butterfly. He'll replicate back out. Maybe saving for buyback, but hard to push into LGD. Hard not to push now, because They're farming, and they're farming a lot, and he's going to buy that butterfly. 38 minutes in, your solo mid-morph was up against the dual lane. Doesn't feel like it. 310 CS on Sylar. He's barely died at all. 3-0, in fact, he hasn't died at all. 3-0-1. Butterfly, Ethereal Blade, Manta, Treads, and plenty of room to expand.
Yeah, I like the fact that he went for a full butterfly. You go big or you go home because you have so many defensive items to start with. Might as well get some damage now because the next team fight is likely to be their last if they actually lose it. But again, when is that team fight going to come? Rattlesnake smokes up, so if they find anybody, that's going to be huge.
It's a decent smoke. Bottom lane, middle lane, top lane are all slightly pushed past the river, but they're also all off the map right now, which means it's a fairly hard smoke to get away with, and doesn't seem like LGD will get caught. Sylar's top lane, but he's about to TP out. Sells the bottle now, buys a TP. Oh, he may go for one more wave. That could really cost him. He's thinking about it and thinks better of it, and it looks like he'll TP out in the end.
Yep.
Not too many pickoffs here for Rattlesnake.
Yeah, and Rattlesnake is going to keep on trucking, I suppose. Walk across the map, find some guys. Meanwhile, the Radiant says, yeah, something's smoky here. Something's fishy. Let's stay in our base.
Something smoky indeed, Lumi.
Yeah.
Sylar, he'll replicate out and then head towards the middle lane. He wants more creeps, and he'll find more creeps. Unfortunately, there is a ganking party of 5 heroes coming in. They're going to roar Sylar before he can replicate out, but it's already available. He gets 4 staffed away, then disrupted, and while that's happening, Chow 8 also lassos BKBs and pulls Luo back, but Luo's just slicing and dicing here. He's making mince meat of Yao. Yao's going to get zapped up. And that's your big bad alchemist for you. With the Abyssal Blade, they do find that crucial kill. Is there buyback on Life Stealer?
There is buyback. And
it's
there's
available.
buyback.
There's no lasso. There's no BKB on the Bat Rider. And I don't know if they can actually fight it out against Alk. Well, we'll see.
I think they can. Luo's out of BKB. So if and Luo, yeah, as soon as they see the buyback on the Life Stealer, Luo says, man, I can't actually take this fight. I have to back off and at least wait for my BKB charge. So that they do back off, yeah.
End of the day, though, there was no lasso and no BKB on Bat Rider. They don't have that much control outside of that for LGD. They are rather light on the disables. Really just the Nyx stun, maybe Carapace, I guess.
It's the Nyx stun. It's a multiple 4-staff. It's the shotgun. It's the Heaven's Halberd that from the buyback Yao. I think they have more than enough on a lack of BKB Yao or lack of BKB Luo. So
true. No, not that many direct stuns.
like they're not gonna kill Alchemist, but Alchemist is not gonna kill anybody else either.
Not unless his teammates can follow up. And what is Lamb going to go for? I mean, Aghanims is, for me, kind of the obvious choice here. Maybe he'll even go for something like a Scythe of Vice, but I just feel they need more lockdown for this Alchemist.
Yeah, I don't know how.
If Prophet could somehow buy 2 Scythe of Vice, I would say he should do that, because that's really all they need. They have the damage. They just lack the control and the lockdown.
What Lamb needs to do is like buy an item that could silence another person's item.
Should Luo even buy something else instead? He's up to 7.8k. He'll sell his Battle Fury. Is he going Divine?
Is this a big deeps?
Oh, this looks like an MKB. Come on, Luo. You disappoint me, my friend.
He needs the MKB. There's, Butterfly, there is Heaven's Outbreak, so it's a fair item.
It's honestly probably more cost efficient than a Rapier.
It actually gives you more damage when you're hitting than missing with 300 and whatever. So
yeah, guaranteed damage is better than no damage at all, and he'll get the MKB now and still have buyback. The only other thing I could see him doing is rebuying BKB, maybe replacing the Battle Fury if it goes later, but the waves get big as the game goes later, so generally you want that cleave.
Yep. So I just see him really going for BKB replacements, and if the game gets very, very dicey, maybe he needs Divine, but I don't see it that way.
If he needs a Divine, I think they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because by the time he needs a Divine to kill people, that means Sylar and probably Yao as well are both really fat.
Right.
And can you kill them both during that BKB? Probably not.
Probably not. We're going to see perhaps Alchemist trying to push out mid. When is Aegis going to time out here? As if Valve is listening, I don't think 30 seconds before is enough. Oh, now he times out. So is there a way for us to get Aegis timer constantly on the map? Is that okay?
We can do our own Aegis timer, but
Yeah.
Valve has theirs and interferes a little bit, and you're kicking over the speakers in rage, Lumi. It's a mess here. It's a
Well,
mess.
Lifestealer hasn't been raging at all, so I gotta fill the rage quota for him.
Oh my goodness, you're too much.
Yeah.
As for Rattlesnake, they just can't seem to crack the LGD shell at this point.
I
It's
think
a
they're afraid
tough
to
knot
crack. I don't know. They try once, they get forced out buyback, and they just want to say, let's go again, but they don't.
You think there's a peanut in there, but maybe there's actually a poisonous snake or something. They've got this big bag of peanuts. They're hungry, but they're afraid to open them.
Well, Lamb does pick up the Acceptor, as you suggest. It is really a great item. You talked about the more stun duration, the roar. And let's not forget about the
cooldown.
Yeah, the cooldown. Let's not forget about the 50% slow that you apply to everybody else. It is such a big AoE, and it's not bad. It's not bad.
And that could help. Maybe they find 2 kills off of a single roar.
You talked about disable. You talked about slows, right? That gives you both.
It's 2 in 1. Now for Lamb, I think Scythe of Ice is next. Get more lockdown. That's pretty much all they need. Again, I don't think anyone lives through what Luo can dish out. Maybe once Morphling's maxed, but right now he's still somewhat killable. Especially if you catch him out when he's relatively low or highly agility morph, low strength morph. The one thing about morph which is worth talking about is as the game goes later, if enemy carries can just blow you up with insane DPS, you can easily out DPS the morph, and it's not as good of a survivability ability as it would be in the early to mid game.
Yeah, I feel like a lot.
Because it's ultimately just the static amount of HP you're gaining.
I agree. I feel that a lot of times when you're playing a Morphling, he reminds me of Phantom Lancer in the sense that a ton of it split pushing. You're playing this elusive, hard to gank, annoying to deal with hero that doesn't really like to fight head to head, right? I mean, he does have to shotgun build this game, so that example, that comparison might not be the best, but he is going to be the annoyance factor. He's going to push out wave, force you to defend, and I guess having Prophet really helps in doing so. But let's go back a couple more minutes here, and remember it was like a 24-minute Midas, and then they did fully go with the decision for a late game Dota.
He's getting there. We're 45 minutes in. It honestly feels like an hour because there's been 15 kills in those 45 minutes. We've actually seen a lot of action-packed Dota in Asian Dota. Stereotypes be damned, but today, well, they're living up to the stereotypes, Lumi. 2 Chinese teams farming, not fighting.
I love it.
And heading very, very late.
I love it because, this is where you see stacked out inventories. This is where you see buyback decisions. This is where you see some of the more interesting items like a Heaven's Halberd on a Lifestealer. You don't get any your everyday Dota in 20 minutes of gameplay. You get this kind of Dota in 45, hitting creeps all day. I love it.
I don't mind an action movie every now and then, though.
Yeah.
I'll say. I don't want to watch them every day, but once in a while they hit the spot.
Yeah, so
for Luo, up to 5,000 gold, he has buyback and a new BKB very soon. Another 1,000 gold. So I would like to see him do it because even just getting 3 extra seconds on the BKB really could make the difference. I
mean, I think once it gets down to 6, 5, that's when you decide to replace. I think it's okay.
He's got maybe one more usage,
yeah.
But I would say after that, it's definitely worth it.
This guy's a high roller. Don't use used cars. Only use brand new ones. So
every time he finishes a ride, he actually just throws out his car or brings it to the junkyard.
You can't second hand sell this car because you just have to drop it. You can't sell BKBs now. So this guy is like high roller, really.
I wish I had toilet paper made out of $100 bills, but I don't. Only our MasterCard.
Are you the MasterCard? This guy's the MasterCard. Now Morphling does have a 46-minute BKB, which again deals fairly nicely against these some of the backline support casters. I kind of want to say Rattlesnake should actually not farm the Alchemist anymore, which sounds kind of awkward because that's your one row carry. I think you farm your Latrak, farm your Rubik, farm your Beastmaster.
I fully agree.
Because he's running out of inventory and the rest of your team is not. What is Luo going to do with 8k gold, really?
See, the funny thing is Luo's just so much better at farming than anyone else on this team that is, and as a carry player, it's your natural instinct honed over, years and years of high-level play, even just pub play. Whatever the case is,
sure.
You're used to farming. You see creeps, you go hit them. It's like a dog that sees a bone. It wants to go chew on it. Luo, he wants the creeps. He wants the gold, but there is that point where you have to restrain yourself. The only thing that I think it makes sense to farm for is just so he can buy back and buy a new BKB. But beyond that, there's just nothing. There's nothing to buy.
Yeah, I agree. So
what else could you? Is there anything else better than his inventory? I don't see it. I mean, maybe he could get a butterfly of his own instead of Assault Cuirass, but Assault Cuirass just does so much for your team.
I personally like Mantis Owl, but I'm not sure what you sell for this. Maybe a Battle Fury, maybe. But here comes the 4th Roshan with the Aegis, with the cheese. Every time there's a Roshan kill, I say, all right, this has got to be the push.
So haven't even made a go of it.
Right.
These guys are playing scared, man. I'll tell you.
All right, Aegis. Who picks this one? Are we gonna see a Neo? No, we're gonna see Icy on the Aegis, which is actually good because he's gonna be definitely your secondary DPS.
I would kind of rather see it go to Lamb, but he might get the cheese. No, they'll give it to Kabu.
No, don't give it to Kabu. You got one already. They don't stack, and every time you use it, there's a 1-minute cooldown. So you're definitely not using 2 cheese in one fight.
To me, Lamb's the most important player because he's got an Ags on Beastmaster. He's going to get off 2 roars in one fight with an Aegis almost certainly. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
Right.
And if he doesn't, then they would have lost the fight anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Whereas you give it to Prophet, is he really going to get off 2 sites of ice? That hero's squishy. He gets gone upon, he gets blown up. But they'll head towards late game, and this is where you even sell something like a mechanism. You get a real damage item because frankly, mech doesn't do much for you anymore.
It is +5 armor for your whole team, and maybe if your ally does get a little bit out of position, it makes them survive 1 or 2 seconds longer. But
yeah.
It's okay.
It's okay for now. In 10 minutes, I would like to see it replaced.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not anything spectacular like a 10-minute mech. But
Lumi, the game continues to move along. We're now 49 minutes in. It's starting to get towards that really, really late game. It's almost like the Mariana Trench, just this uncharted territory for many teams where how do you train for situations like this? We're not quite at that fully extreme level yet, but in 10, 15 minutes, we will be. And this game shows no signs of getting any closer to a deciding and satisfying conclusion. And that's where, I mean, ultimately, you just make decisions in the heat of the moment, and the game is decided. And there's only so much preparation and thought that the players can put into it because Dota is not played on a chessboard.
Yeah, it might be now, though, as we are slowly trying to set up a siege in front of that tier 3 tower.
I just want to point out they have 2 cheeses on Lamb.
Yeah, they passed the cheese, which, in agreement with you, I think this is the correct way to do it. Your Beastmaster is the more important target, the more important player on the team. Here we go. Luo has found the tier 3 tower.
He's found it. He's having trouble, and right at that moment, at least for me, there's a bit of a lag spike. I'll watch on your monitor. And
I'm okay here. Luo got replicated by the Morphling, and immediate there's a side of ice. Looks like they're disrupting him, creating a little bit more illusion.
Come on, Dota. Oh my god, why is it lagging? There's a flame break flying in.
Luo's actually dropping low. He gets forced out back out. Defensive disrupt from a stolen. BKB roar comes out here, and Xiaowei pops a BKB, and, well, he got blown the hell up. But more importantly, Luo pops his BKB. I think we're backing off in 56 seconds.
Well, Xiaowei forced to use the buyback. Buyback, probably your most precious resource at 50 minutes plus.
Not gold, not cooldowns, buybacks.
The only thing that's maybe more important is something like a BKB or Scythe of Vice.
Right,
but
right.
Aside from that, buyback really is the most important resource in late game Dota. And Rattlesnake, they'll have to play. They'll be the ones who can play a little more aggressively. LGD, the ones who have to play a little more safe. But Xiaowei being forced to buy back.
If Rattlesnake wants to play defensive, there is a level 2 disrupt on Rubik. You could keep disrupting Luo and send those illusions at the tower. I think they might be missing a little bit by not doing that.
They might go for it with this wave, though. Well, actually, we'll see.
Luo says, what
is he farming for?
Nothing.
It's just like he's bored, so go kill some creeps.
I mean, just stand in front of the tower, have Neo
let off a little steam.
Have Neo disrupt you, and if you want to play Ultra Save, you send your boar, and you send the 2 illusions to go at the tower. It's free damage. Why not?
And this is where having a Manta on the Alc as well would just be so
that's
nice
why I
for
personally
sieging.
love Alc Mantas. But
they don't have a glyph anymore on the side of LGD, and they'll need to use a disarm here just to slow Luo down. He actually gets disrupted under cover of the tower. Now the Soul Catcher comes in, but there's too many creeps. I don't think it actually hit him. He's still dropping pretty quickly. He's got a BKB. He's not popping. He's going to die and buy back immediately, I imagine. Or maybe just throw his life away for not.
Do you know what's doing all the damage to Alchemist?
His own illusions.
His own illusions. It's
Blink, 4-step forward, BKB from Xiaowei. He clutches on the Lamb and drags him back into the pain train. Hello, Morphling. Hello, Lifesteal. Luo comes back. He's got Chemical Rage. He's got a BKB. He has not popped his BKB. He's going to get blown up from full HP to nothing. Oh, a crucial mistake by Luo. Now Icy, BKB, TP out. Can't get away. Aegis is expelled at the site of the crime, and now he's going to die yet again. I think we've just seen Rattlesnake self-destruct before our very eyes. Buyback from out. TP's in late on the Chemical Rage and doesn't even get off the BKB. Gets absolutely butchered. And LGD, on the back of that, they're almost certainly about to take game 1.
I think this is where you throw. Straight up. You take tier 2. You take the tier 3 and forget the Raxus. You just go straight at the tower. Now, it might be somewhat hard to do it against, for example, Rubik and Beastmaster. Heck, what am I saying? You could easily do it. You have a Morphling with Manta. You have a Shadow Demon that can make more Morphlings. You go. Let's see if they do make that choice.
They're going to go for the tower right now. The glyph is there, but they still have plenty of time. 45 seconds and counting before Alchemist is back in business, and they are going directly for the throne, for the jugular. LGD China, they looked rather weak at points of this game, but they're now looking strong and solid. Lamb caught out by the lasso, pulled back in and blown up, and now the shotgun onto Kabu. LGD China, they are going to take game one and do it in patient fashion. I think that's the way to put it here, Lumi. Slow, steady, even boring at times for the viewers perhaps, but LGD China, a team that
this game ain't boring at all.
Will do whatever it takes to win. They do it here. I gotta say for Rattlesnake though, they could have played that so much better. Alchemist dies late to buy back, then PP's back in, doesn't pop his BKB, Beastmaster getting caught. Just some questionable decision-making reaction. Maybe there was lag involved, but that was not pristine Dota from Rattlesnake at the end.
To me, that's not what lost the game. Sure, you make late game misclicks. That always happens to the best of us. You know, sometimes you just play particularly worse in that one instance. But to me, the incorrect thing about this game is deciding not to push when you had a 10k goal lead, when you had multiple Aegises. They were 24 minutes in, decided to go ultra late game Dota. And I don't think they should have done that for the numerous reasons I gave out throughout the cast.
Yeah, you're up against two of the best late-game heroes in Shadow Demon, Batrider as far as utility heroes, gankers, controlling heroes go. You're up against a dual core, a Morphling, and a Lifestealer. And your carry is an Alchemist who just isn't good at dealing with mobile, elusive, and otherwise survivable carries. He really just wants to Abyssal someone, bash them to death, and then go to work. And Morphling, he didn't even get to hit Morphling in that last fight. He was constantly controlled.
He got hit by illusions.
Yeah, he got hit by illusions. His own illusions ended up killing him.
Yeah, that's it.
Some questionable decisions there from Rattlesnake, from the decision not to push, and then when they did, just not the best execution of that push. As for LGD China, well, they are nothing if unable to come back. They're a bend but don't break team. They show it here again. They will end up taking game one. It's a best-of-2 format, so they've already secured 1 point. But can they find a clean 2-0 sweep? They took game one against MUFC, then they dropped game two earlier today, so they really would like to get a 2-0 win. And with that, we'll throw it back to the panel. Blitz, Purge, your thoughts?
All around great game. Very, very long though. Rattlesnake did have a pretty big advantage with the Alchemist. His GPM was way off the charts compared to everybody else. I actually thought that the Rattlesnake was going to win that in the mid game, but it was really hard to push high ground. The team fighting heroes that LGD was working with, most importantly the Batrider, you have to be so careful when you go high ground, and Shadow Demon can just disrupt you. That he got trapped in by his own illusions. Those are pretty serious damage dealers. Like, how are you supposed to push against that? It's just such a difficult thing.
Yeah, and also, I think I completely agree with what Lumi said. Playing an Alchemist is the one role. It's great and all, and you get a ton of farm, and you're going to get ahead. I mean, he had 776 GPM, and the next one down was 607. How often does that happen when, as the losing team, you're that far ahead in terms of GPM? But, I mean, it just seemed like LGD's lineup was a little better at being geared towards the late game. Shadow Demon's the defensive disrupt anytime you get gone on. If he gets Abyssal Bladed, you can just disrupt that person. The Purge through the BKB, that's an absolute huge thing. I mean, Batrider is essentially kind of cancels out Beastmaster in a sense, where both their ultimates are kind of just used to stop the BKB hero.
Yeah.
But then you have Lifestealer as well and a Nyx Assassin. The overall utility just kind of seems in LGD's favor.
Yeah, and offensive especially. Batrider can go offensive, pull somebody towards this team. That's what happened at the end. Alchemist got picked off. Batrider leaps forward, snags the Beastmaster, pulls him back and kills him right before his ulti was off cooldown again. And then the Alchemist TP'd in, forgot to BKB, and then the game ends right there. I mean, one little mistake like that, well, technically it was like two smallish mistakes that ended up having dire consequences that resulted in Rattlesnake ended up losing the game. So really tough loss for them. I'm sure they felt like they had that game in the bag since Alchemist was farming so well. But that's how it goes sometimes. Small mistakes in the late game, everything just goes away. So we'll be back in just a little bit, guys. We're going to be hitting a small break here, and then we'll be back with Game 2 of LGD versus Rattlesnake. Don't go anywhere.